Young black doctor's incredible act revives millionaire woman in coma discover the life-changing moment. Jamal Carter stood in the bustling emergency room, adrenaline surging through his veins as the echo of urgent footsteps filled the air. It was just another Friday night in the city, and his heart raced not just from the thrill of work, but from the weight of expectation on his shoulders. He could already hear the murmurs of the crowd outside. "Did you hear? A millionaire is in critical condition." The name hung in the air like a ghost. Claire Thompson, the woman known for her lavish charity events, her crisp designer clothes, and her tidy world remote from the grime he navigated day to day. His upbringing replayed in his mind the hard work his mother instilled in him, her sacrifice as a single parent, the dream she breathed into his very being. Smiling through the hardship, he absorbed her lessons, nurturing them into a deep-rooted resolve. Now, in this dark, bright hospital, surrounded by the chaos of life, he felt the weight of her dreams melding with his. Urging him on. As he rushed toward Claire's room, he couldn't shake the conflicting feelings inside him. Admiration for her accomplishments clashed with the bitterness of her detachment from the community he cherished. At what cost do her riches come? He often saw families burdened with the weight of illness, struggling to afford treatment, while she danced with the elite. It was a tension he struggled to reconcile, as he scrubbed in for a task that felt larger than life itself. Amid the beeping monitors and the sterile scent of antiseptic, Jamal fought to revive Claire from the depths of her coma. It wasn't just her heartbeat he clung to. It was the hope she represented. Yet, as he worked, fragments of another story unfolded, one he didn't expect. News of her estranged daughter, Emily, who carried the pain of a love long denied. The intensity of their rift gnawed at Jamal's heart as he poured everything he had into reviving Claire, drawing from memories of his own mother's sacrifices, and how sometimes ambition can blind us to the greatest treasures family. "Come on, Claire," he urged in the quiet hours filled only with machines and the pulse of desperation. "Don't leave her in this state." He recalled the way Emily had stared at him, tears brimming her eyes, when he had convinced her to see her mother. "She needs to wake up. You can't leave things like this." Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. As Claire's eyelids began to flutter, hope surged through Jamal like a spark igniting dry grass. He felt the gravity of everything balancing on this singular moment. Would the awakening of Claire lead to healing, a chance to mend broken ties? The clock echoed loudly around him, each tick resonant with questions. What would she choose to believe upon waking? Would she heed the pain of her daughter? Suddenly, Claire's eyes opened with a confusion that mirrored the turmoil within Jamal. As she looked around, their eyes connected, and he felt a jolt of recognition wash over him, a desperate longing for connection that transcended their vastly different worlds. Would this moment bring redemption or deepen the chasm that had long lain between them? The air thickened with possibility, and as he held that gaze, Jamal knew he stood at the brink of a transformative journey for them all. Jamal felt the room shift as Claire's eyes focused on him. There was a flicker of recognition, the start of understanding. He held his breath, waiting for her to speak, hoping for some clarity after the endless sea of uncertainty they had both navigated. But all that escaped her lips were broken whispers, fragments of words tangled in confusion. "Where am I?" Claire croaked, her voice scarred with remnants of sleep. Jamal's heart raced as he leaned closer, wanting to assure her, to guide her back from the fragile edge of it all. "You're in the hospital, Claire. You had an accident." His words felt insufficient. lingering in the sterile air like the sharp smell of disinfectant. He searched for something significant, something that would open the floodgates of her memory, but her face remained blank, mirroring the void that had surrounded her for so long. She blinked, and with every blink, Jamal sensed the weight of her reality colliding with his own. "Emily," Claire finally gasped, the name hanging painfully between them. It was a plea, an admission of failure bittersweet and heavy. "Yes, Emily is here." "She loves you, Claire," Jamal said, his voice softer now, reaching across the chasm. "You need to wake up not just from this coma, but from the life you built without her." Claire's gaze fell, and despair shadowed her features. The lines of worry deepened, and Jamal wished he could erase the pain she had caused her daughter over the years. He had seen the way Emily had cried, the hurt spilling out during their conversations. Could Claire face that pain now? Could she find the strength to confront the life she had distanced herself from? A long silence pushed between them, a fragile thread of hope intertwined with trepidation. Then, just when Jamal thought despair would swallow them both, Claire murmured, "I need to see her." At that moment, the sound of footsteps echoed in the hallway, and Emily entered, her face a canvas painted with emotion. The moment their eyes met, everything else fell away. Jamal felt he was witnessing a miracle, a stolen moment between mother and daughter. "Mom?" Emily's voice trembled, dancing on the edge of disbelief. Claire's gaze was filled with an outpouring of emotion, a whirlwind of regret and longing. "Emily," Claire whispered again, this time with urgency. The sound of her daughter's name seemed to break something in her, a small spark igniting. Jamal stepped aside as Emily rushed to the bedside, her heartbeat drumming through the silence. Jamal watched, hoping this would be the moment they had both waited for, that long-desired reunion, the opportunity to thread their fractured paths back together. But as he turned away, a sense of uncertainty gnawed at him. Would this be a moment of healing, or would it deepen the wounds that had long laid dormant? He stepped into the hallway, his pulse matching the rhythms of distant beeping machines, and reflected on the connection he had forged, the journey he had undertaken alongside Emily, who had fought through her own storms to arrive at this moment. It brought a smile to his face, yet beneath that smile, a question bubbled like a well of uncertainty. Would the emotions fill the empty spaces that time had carved? Or would anger and hurt rise, choking the path to forgiveness? As he leaned against the wall, watching mother and daughter with bated breath, Jamal knew that whatever happened next would test the limits of their love and resolve. He steeled himself for the challenge ahead, for this was only the beginning of a long road to reconciliation. With emotions swirling fiercely in the air, a calmness settled over him, for he was ready to fight for both of them, a fight that would redefine not just Claire's life, but also Emily's and his own. Could they transcend their pain, or was it all destined to repeat itself? The stakes felt impossibly high, and as he pushed away from the wall, hand trembling on the doorframe to ease him into the room, he took a deep breath, stepping into the unknown. Would Claire's awakening lead to healing, or would it unearth wounds too deep to mend? Claire's heart raced as she locked eyes with Emily. The years of silence rushed back like a flood, memories cascading over the edges of her mind. She could feel the weight of the world pressing on her chest, and at that moment, everything she had been running from coalesced into that single, powerful gaze. "Emily, I'm so sorry." Claire's voice trembled, filled with brokenness. She reached for her daughter, the distance that had felt insurmountable suddenly shrinking into nothing. Emily hesitated for just a moment, her hand hovering mid-air, as if bracing for impact. "Mom," the word escaped Emily's lips, barely a whisper, laced with both hope and fear. Tears welled in her eyes, glistening like fragile glass. Jamal stood at the door, uncertainty coating each breath he took as he watched this fragile dance unfold. A mix of emotions flashed across Emily's face, habits of resentment grappling with instinctual love. "You left me, Mom." You chose everything else over me, she replied, her voice sharper than she intended, but so raw that every ounce of pain spilled from her heart. I know I was scared. I thought. Claire trailed off as the memories surged forth, revealing a truth she had buried for far too long. I thought I was protecting you by keeping my distance, but I was wrong. I was just lost. The words hung in the air, laden with regret. Jamal leaned against the doorframe, feeling the tension pull taut. He could see the flicker of warmth that existed beneath Emily's surface, battling against the cold ghosts of the past. Why did it take an accident for you to wake up? Emily's question pierced through the silence, sharp and probing. It cut deeper than any medical instrument ever could. I wish I had a better answer, Em. I was trapped in my own misery, and I should have fought for you instead of against myself. I'm sorry for the years I wasted. Claire's hand shook, desperate for connection, reaching across the chasm created by silence and neglect. Emily studied her mother's face, searching for any remnants of the woman she once knew. The room felt constricting, every breath thick with shared history. As Claire's words settled into Emily's heart, a flicker of something warm ignited within her, an ember, small but stubborn. Why should I believe you now? Emily asked bluntly, unsure whether she wanted to hear the answer, yet craving it all the same. Because I'm here, Claire whispered, vulnerability draping over her like a thin veil. Because I want to rebuild if you let me. I want to know you, every bit of you that I missed. I wanted to say I love you long before this moment. Jamal stepped closer, sensing the transformation beginning to ripple through the air, like a gust of fresh hope. He felt the need to usher this moment forward, to protect its fragility. This isn't just about the past, he said, his tone encouraging. It's about what you can create together now. You have a chance. Tears streamed down Emily's cheeks, her heart teetering between anger and love, between fear and hope. You're right, I'm scared, Mom. I don't know how to do this. In that moment, Claire's heart surged with something powerful, a mix of desperation and love. Then we'll learn together, she answered softly, her gaze unwavering. It won't be easy, but I will do everything to prove to you how much you mean to me. As their eyes locked once more, a solemn promise formed in the space between them. Jamal let out the breath he had been holding, hope unfurling in his chest as he believed again in the possibility of healing. But then, before they could bridge the gap, a beeping sound intensified from the machines, and chaos erupted outside the room. The door swung open, and hurried footsteps filled the hallway. Dr. Ellis, we need you in the ER. A nurse shouted as Claire's heart rate spiked on the monitor. Both Claire and Emily's eyes widened in fear, shattering their moment. Mom! Emily gasped, panic flooding her voice, but Claire's determination surged in the face of uncertainty. Stay with me, Em. I promise I'm not going anywhere. Claire shouted, before the doctors whisked her away. Jamal remained rooted at the threshold, grappling with the weight of what had just unfolded. He felt the spiraling anxiety in the air, knowing this was far from over. Would Claire's choice to fight for her family prove stronger than the interruption of fate? As the sounds of frantic medical care enveloped them, Jamal couldn't help but wonder, would this moment of vulnerability spark the healing they so desperately needed, or would it rip them apart again? A fight for life was just beginning, but deeper battles lay waiting in the shadows. The hospital room buzzed with activity, the urgency gripping every corner. Jamal's heart thudded in his chest as he watched the medical team pull Claire away. With each step they took, the connection he had just witnessed, that fragile bond between mother and daughter, felt more distant. Emily stood frozen, tears streaming down her cheeks. Every instinct told her to run after her mother, but the chaos around her held her back. Instead, she focused on the sounds, machines beeping, voices yelling, and the wheeled cart rolling away, taking Claire with it. Panic surged through her, filling the void that had momentarily been filled with hope. Emily! Jamal's voice broke through the haze, grounding her momentarily. Come on, we should go to the waiting area. They'll give us updates there. I can't just wait. She blinked, harshly wiping her tears with the back of her hand. What if something happens? What if hey? Jamal stepped closer, his voice softening as he placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Let us keep the focus. She's getting the care she needs. You that believe she'll fight through this, right? Emily glanced at him, desperation flickering in her eyes before she nodded. I just wish I could do something for her. She just got back into my life. I can't lose her again. The two made their way to the waiting room, where fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. It felt surreal, like a moment stolen from a different life. As they sat down, Emily pulled her knees up to her chest, resting her chin on them, feeling heavy and lost. This is completely nuts, she said, her voice muffled. One moment we were really talking, and now we wait. Jamal sighed, leaning back in his chair. But you did talk him. That was a big step. You want to lose that moment. No matter how scary this feels right now, it's still progress. She wanted to believe him. What if it's too late? The words tumbled out, heavy with dread. It's not. It can't be, he replied, determination flickering in his voice. Remember, you just took the first steps toward mending something that had been broken for so long. You two just have to keep working on it. As they sat in silence, Emily stole glances at the busy nurses and doctors moving swiftly down the hall. Each passing figure made her heart skip, wondering if any of them were coming to offer news. Hours felt like days. Just when she thought she could no longer bear the waiting, a familiar figure emerged from the chaos. Dr. Ellis stepped into the waiting area, her white coat flapping softly behind her. The moment their eyes met, Emily shot up, her heart racing again. Is my mom okay? What happened? Dr. Ellis's expression was unreadable, making Emily's anxiety spike. We stabilized her, she said, her voice firm yet gentle. She is in critical care, but right now she is fighting. We're examining her condition closely. Emily's breath caught in her throat. Fighting, she is a fighter. Just like she has always been. Yes, that is right, Dr. Ellis nodded. But fighting can take time. You both have a lot of healing to do, emotionally and physically. I know this seems overwhelming, but be ready for anything. Anything, Emily echoed, her mind racing. The weight of so many emotions thudded in her chest, anxiety wrestling with hope. And be sure to speak to her, even when she can't reply. The connection is important, Dr. Ellis insisted before heading off again. Emily looked at Jamal, who was leaning forward, concern etched on his face. She felt a raw urge to return to her mother's bedside. I need her to know I'm here. I need to tell her I want to try again. I want to fight too. Then that's where we'll go, Jamal said, rising and offering her an encouraging smile. Just keep talking to her. Let her hear your voice. Emily took a deep breath, her heart swelling with a mix of fear and determination. She wasn't alone in this anymore. They stepped into the hallway, making their way toward the ICU, uncertainty hanging in the air like a heavy fog. As they approached the nurse's station, Emily's heart raced at the thought of seeing her mother again. She was ready for a chance, ready to let Claire know she would never give up. But what awaited her in that room might change everything again. Would Claire's will to revive meet the emotional depth of their rekindled connection, or would the demons of the past threaten to tear them apart anew? Emily's footsteps quickened as they approached the large double doors of the ICU. Each heartbeat felt louder, a drum echoing the rhythm of her anxiety. Jamal walked beside her, his presence a stable anchor amid the turmoil churning inside her. Are you ready? He asked, concern softening his voice. She hesitated, a wave of doubt crashing over her. What if she doesn't remember me? What if she can't hear me? The thought gnawed at her insides, twisting her stomach. Just talk to her, Jamal encouraged, gently nudging her. Even if she can't respond, she'll know you're there. Just let the love flow. Taking a deep breath, Emily nodded and pushed through the doors into the ICU. The room was dimly lit, the faint hum of machines creating an atmosphere thick with tension. As her eyes adjusted, they landed on her mother, lying on the bed, still and fragile. The steady beep of the heart monitor punctuated the silence, a haunting reminder of the life Claire fought to keep. "Mom," Emily whispered, her voice barely above a whisper. She felt a rush of emotions overwhelm her at the sight. Years of hurt, longing, and love pressed against her chest like a weight. "It's me, it's Emily." Jamal stood back a bit, allowing her space as she approached the bed. Emily reached for Claire's hand, her fingers brushing against the cool skin. She could feel her mother's pulse, alive but distant. The connection sparked a flicker of hope within her. "I'm here," she continued, her voice stronger now. "I know things have been hard between us, but I need you to know I want to make things right. I want to fight for us." The words poured out, raw and honest. Tears blurred her vision, but she wiped them away, refusing to lose this moment. In the stillness of the room, she felt almost silly for talking to a person who might not even hear her. But deep down, she knew this was part of the fight. Every syllable held weight, every sentiment a bridge to their past. Time slipped by as Emily poured her heart out, sharing stories about what had happened while Claire was away, and what her life meant to her now. She talked about her struggles with school, her dreams, and the grief of feeling abandoned. Everything that had built the walls around her heart now flowed freely. A soft rustle broke the spell. She turned just in time to see the flutter of Claire's eyelids. "Mom." Emily's heart leaped with a newfound surge of energy. "Can you hear me?" Claire's eyes remained closed, but there was a slight movement, an acknowledgement maybe. Emily leaned closer, holding her breath, praying for a sign, a squeeze of her hand, a flicker of recognition. "This is your chance, Mom," she urged, gripping her mother's hand tighter. "I need you to wake up. We can fix this together." A shift of Claire's fingers sent a jolt of electricity through Emily. It was just a twitch, but it felt monumental. She needed to believe that Claire could sense her presence, that the love could reach her beyond the veil of unconsciousness. A moment later, the door opened and Dr. Ellis re-entered the room, her expression serious but hopeful. "What is going on?" she asked, her eyes flitting between Emily and Claire. "I think she is reacting," Emily explained, barely containing her excitement. "Keep talking to her," Dr. Ellis encouraged, moving closer to monitor Claire's vitals. "Your voice can make a difference. We believe she can hear you." Filled with renewed determination, Emily leaned even closer, speaking with a fervor she didn't know she had. "Mom, please come back to me. I need you. We have so much to talk about. I want you to meet Jamal. You'd love him." She kept talking, pouring everything she had into her words, the emotional reservoir of her heart spilling out like a life-affirming potion. But as she did, a fear gripped her. What if this wasn't enough? What if they had lost each other for good? Amid her hopeful ramblings, a thought flickered. Was she digging up the past, or was she really laying the groundwork for a new beginning? As Claire's eyelids fluttered again, Emily's voice got softer, filled with an almost sacred reverence. "It's not too late. We can make it through this." But just then, the machines let out a rapid series of beeps. A sudden rush of activity surged into the room, and Emily's heart dropped. What was happening? "Stay back," the nurse shouted, rushing to Claire's side. Fear enveloped the moment, and Emily's heart raced. Would she lose her mother again before they had a real chance to reconnect? Just as panic set in, she realized she couldn't let that happen. Not now. Not like this. Mom, she cried, her voice laced with desperation. Please, don't you leave me again. And as the chaos intensified, she could only wonder, would their moment of truth ever come? Emily held her breath as the nurse hurried over to Claire's bedside, her voice brisk and urgent. The meters beeped faster, the sound spiraling like a siren in her mind. Jamal moved closer, trying to peer around the nurse, concern etched on his face. Stay calm, Dr. Ellis instructed, her voice slicing through the frantic atmosphere, commanding attention. We need to stabilize her. Can she hear me? Emily implored, desperation pooling in her eyes. Dr. Ellis nodded, but her focus remained on Claire, her expression a mix of concentration and concern. Emily felt an invisible rope tugging at her heart with every frantic beep. What if Claire was slipping away again? Mom, please, Emily whispered, stepping closer. She could see the lines of worry on her mother's face, the faintest rise and fall of her chest struggling for dominance against the machine's relentless alarms. You have to fight. I need you to fight. For a moment, time seemed to stretch, elongating everything around her. She could feel the weight of Jamal's hand on her shoulder, steadying her as though grounding them both in the storm. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Claire's monitor stabilized. The frantic beeping slowed, finding a more rhythmic tone. Emily's breath caught in her throat, hope igniting like a match struck against darkness. Good, Dr. Ellis said, her tone shifting slightly, allowing a glimmer of warmth to seep through her professionalism. We're getting her back under control. Can I touch her? Emily asked, her heart trembling at the thought of reaching out again. Absolutely, the doctor replied, eyes serious. Your voice is important, but contact might help too. Emily reached for Claire's hand again, this time holding on tighter, weaving her fingers through her mother's. It felt fragile yet powerful, a simple act that felt charged with purpose. Mom, stay with me. We can heal together, she urged, her voice a soft plea that wrapped around them both. Quiet stretched over the room, the bustle of nurses and doctors fading into background noise. Emily continued to talk, recounting their favorite memories, beach trips, laughing over silly things, the warmth of family gatherings. Each word felt like a thread, pulling through the web of time that had tangled them in pain. With every story, Emily watched for signs, anything to show that Claire was fighting back. A flicker, a sigh, it didn't matter. She wanted confirmation that her mother was in there, ready to reconnect. And then it happened. Claire's fingers squeezed back. Just once, but enough. Jamal! Emily exclaimed, her eyes wide with possibility. Did you see that? He leaned closer, a smile breaking through the tension on his face. She's with you, Em. Just keep talking. Emily took a breath, her voice steady now, filled with hope. Mom, I found out I'm passionate about photography. I wanted to show you my work. I know you'd be proud. She chuckled, the sound tinged with both nostalgia and warmth. You used to say capturing the moment is everything. The corners of Claire's mouth twitched, just a hint of movement. Emily's heart raced with exhilaration. I miss you, Emily continued, daring to take a step closer to vulnerability. I miss you so much. But I am here. I want to help us find our way back to each other. With a surge of resolve, she leaned in, feeling the fragile space between them shift, a tension of possible reunification humming in the air. But before she could continue, a heavy silence fell over the room. The door swung open, and a proud figure strolled in, his white coat fluttering slightly behind him. It was Dr. Mason, known for his groundbreaking work in neurology, the very Dr. Claire had admired before all of this. What's happening? He asked, glancing between Claire, Emily, and Jamal. Claire squeezed her hand. Emily breathed, her voice a mix of tremors and triumph. Hope danced on the edge of every word as she shared the moment. I know she can hear me. Dr. Mason stepped closer, eyes sharp, assessing. Let us see if we can amplify that response. As Emily watched Dr. Mason bend closer to Claire, a burning curiosity ignited within her. What would he do? Would he unlock something more? Suddenly, doubt crept in again. What if it was just a fleeting sign? As the tension crackled in the air, she couldn't shake the sensation that everything was teetering on the edge of a cliff, ready to tip in either direction. Emily's heart raced. Could she handle another letdown? And in that moment of uncertainty, she felt the tide of change surge around them. Would this moment propel them into a new beginning, or would it plunge them deeper into despair? The atmosphere shifted as Dr. Mason leaned in, his presence commanding the room. He took Claire's hand, his touch steady and reassuring. "Claire," he said, his voice firm yet gentle. "Can you hear me? I want you to focus on my voice." Emily clung to Claire's fingers, her heart racing. This was it. This was the moment they had been waiting for. Dr. Mason continued speaking, his tone focused, aiming to pierce through the fog that enveloped her mother. "Claire, I need you to squeeze my hand if you can hear me," he instructed. The anticipation in the room was palpable. Jamal shifted closer, his breath holding, his eyes darting between Claire and the doctor. Seconds felt like hours as the doctor repeated the command. With each moment, Emily felt the weight of hope and fear cascade over her. Then, something magical happened. Claire's fingers twitched, and then, ever so slowly, they began to move. "Mom!" Emily gasped, fresh tears pooling in her eyes. Jamal's hand gripped her shoulder tighter, a shared surge of adrenaline passing between them. Dr. Mason's expression shifted from clinical assessment to a mixture of astonishment and encouragement. "That's it, Claire. Keep going," he urged, capturing the moment with unwavering focus. "You're warm, you're safe, and we're here with you." Another flicker of movement, this time a more deliberate squeeze. Emily's heart soared. "Just keep squeezing, Mom. We're right here," she encouraged, her voice rising with each squeeze, bursting with pride and belief. "Good," Dr. Mason nodded, carefully monitoring the heart rate again, which stabilized even further. "You're doing wonderfully, Claire. Can you give us one more squeeze?" Emily's pulse thrummed loudly in her ears. She willed her mom to fight. With silent prayers, she clutched Claire's hand as if it were a lifeline. "Emily, tell her something only you two share," Jamal urged quietly, his eyes locked onto her. It was as if the air thickened with the unspoken weight of memories. "Okay," Emily whispered. "Mom, remember that summer we spent chasing fireflies? You said every flash was a reminder that light always finds a way to shine through darkness." Silence enveloped them again, and Emily felt the faith in those words travel through her heavy yet hopeful. "You're my guiding light, Mom. I need you to come back to me. We have so many more fireflies to catch together." The stillness suddenly shattered by another blink of movement. A clearer, stronger squeeze this time. Emily gasped, disbelief glazing her eyes. Jamal beamed, his face a mixture of astonishment and joy. Dr. Mason smiled slowly, pride glimmering in his gaze. "That's excellent, Claire. Your daughter remembers. Open your heart to her." "Mom, please," Emily said, her voice breaking with urgency. "Just a bit more. Fight for us, and I promise you won't be alone anymore." As Claire's grip tightened again, Dr. Mason continued to speak calmly, a steady anchor in the tempest of emotions. Suddenly, Claire's eyes fluttered. Emily held her breath, hoping for that moment to crystallize into recognition. "Mom?" Emily's voice trembled. "Can you see me?" Uncertainty filled the air, a thick fog of hope and dread intertwining. Would Claire wake up? Would she come back to the life waiting for her? But just as a spark of light flickered behind Claire's closed eyelids, It vanished, leaving only the heavy silence of uncertainty. The moment stretched long, hanging on the precipice of possibility. Before anyone could react, Claire's eyes fluttered open, an expression of bewildered vulnerability painting her features. The world around her slowly came into focus. Emily. Claire's voice was soft, cracked, like the first rays of dawn piercing through a long night. "Mom!" Emily shouted, tears of joy spilling down her cheeks. But before she could embrace her mother, something flickered inside the room, a shadow passing over Claire's face. A new challenge was lurking on the horizon. Was it truly a miraculous recovery? And what lay ahead for them, joy or fear? As Emily reached for her mother, another doctor stepped in, sharp eyes scanning the monitors. "Dr. Mason, we need to assess her condition further," he instructed. Emily's heart sank. What was happening now? The questions danced in her mind. How could she prepare for what was to come? And was she ready for whatever reality awaited them? As the tension mounted, Emily held Claire's gaze, searching for the strength to face the unknown together. Would this moment solidify their bond, or would new struggles arise before them? The room buzzed with a strange mixture of hope and tension. Claire's fragile smile lingered on her lips as she tried to process what was happening. Emily leaned closer, brushing Claire's hair away from her face, almost afraid to breathe. Each beat of her heart felt like a prayer, a request for her mother to stay with her, to not be lost again. Dr. Mason stepped back, his gaze flicking between the monitors and Claire's face. "We need her to stabilize. It's crucial she shows consistent responsiveness," he explained, the weight of authority still holding sway even as he graced Claire with an encouraging nod. Emily nodded, forcing the worry to the back of her mind. "Just focus on me, Mom. You've got this," she whispered, her voice steady, though her heart was beating wildly. Jamal stood a little farther back, giving them space, but not letting go of Emily's hand. He was her calm in the storm. His eyes reflected both hope and uncertainty, as if he was wrestling with countless unasked questions. Just then, the flutter of anxiety returned to Emily's chest. What if she can't hold on? She thought, and for a moment, her heart wavered. "Mom, can you tell me your favorite memory? Can you take us back to those Sunday mornings in the kitchen, pancakes and laughter?" Emily's voice quivered, but she pressed on. "You'd sing that silly song while buttering the pancakes, remember?" For a fleeting moment, Claire's eyes flickered with recognition, like the quiet first notes of a familiar tune. But then the light dimmed again, and Emily fought back the swell of panic. "She is here. She is fighting," Jamal whispered, squeezing her hand. "She needs you to remind her of who she is." "Right," Emily said, her breath catching. "Mom, think of Dad. He'd want you to keep fighting for us. Remember how you danced at our wedding? The way you spun in that beautiful blue dress?" The spark seemed to flare in Claire's eyes, a flicker of something more hopeful. For a brief second, it felt as if Emily could see her mother, truly see her beneath the layers of confusion and struggle. But then, an unsettling sound emanated from the monitors. The soft beep of worry monitor increased steadily, and the room tensed. "Her vitals are dropping," Dr. Mason announced, rapidly moving back toward Claire. "Stay with us, Claire. You can do this." Emily's heart raced as anxiety clawed at her throat. "Mom, please!" she called out, desperation tightening her grip. "Please, hold on. We need you." Her words felt like arrows, trying to pierce through the thick fog clouding her mother's mind. "It's okay, Claire," Jamal added gently, his voice unyielding. "Fight for your girls. We've got a life waiting for us on the other side of this." As Claire's eyes fluttered again, Emily felt a shift, a spark igniting something deep inside her. "You're the strongest woman I know, Mom. Remember the stories you told me about overcoming challenges? You taught me resilience." Joy danced in the air, but the critical state of Claire's health hung heavily on everyone. Would this truly be the moment they'd turn the tide, or was this just yet another fleeting glimpse of hope? Suddenly, the door swung open, and another doctor rushed in, urgency radiating from every aspect of his being. "What is going on?" he demanded. "This is Claire," Dr. Mason replied swiftly, explaining the situation in clipped sentences full of urgency. The newcomer nodded, stepping forward, ready to assess. Emily felt a chill crawl up her spine. Was this the end of their moment, or just the beginning of a new struggle? What would happen next? With a deep breath, she locked eyes with her mother once again. "I believe in you, Mom. We're not done yet." As emotions tangled in the air like electricity, the hospital room filled with uncertainty, and Emily prepared herself for whatever revelation awaited them. Would they emerge stronger together, or would doubts envelop them once more? The urgency in the room laced through every breath. Emily's heart thundered, almost drowning out the clamors of activity around her. The new doctor's presence was an unexpected jolt, a flicker of hope within the storm. He moved with purpose, his hands deftly adjusting machines and checking Claire's vitals with a meticulous precision that momentarily steadied Emily's racing mind. "Okay, Claire," the doctor said, his voice steady yet encouraging. "We're going to do everything we can here. You just hang tight, all right?" It was a simple sentence, but in that moment, it felt monumental. Emily silently begged her mom to listen, to hold on to those words. Dr. Mason turned his attention back to Emily and Jamal. "We're going to try some new treatment. It's a long shot, but we've got to give it a go." Emily's stomach twisted. Long shot? It felt like her mother was hanging by a thread. Emily glanced at Jamal, whose gentle squeeze of her hand brought a sense of warmth amid the biting cold fear. She noticed a tiny flicker of determination in his eyes, a reminder that they were in this together. "We should keep talking to her," he encouraged softly, nodding at Claire. "She might be able to hear you." Taking a breath, Emily leaned closer to her mother. "Mom, remember our road trips? All those late-night sing-alongs?" Her throat tightened, but she carried on. "You always said you wanted to be the coolest mom, and you nailed it. Your energy, your laughter, it's all part of who you are. Don't you forget that." For a moment, Claire's eyelids twitched again, and Emily felt her pulse quicken. Was that a sign? Was her mom listening? Emily's voice took on a more urgent tone. "You have to fight for those moments, Mom. The lake, your favorite porch swing, our movie marathons, we need you for all of it." With each word, Emily envisioned a picture of her mother, wild hair blowing in the summer breeze, the aroma of freshly baked cookies wafting through the house, the way Claire would throw her head back in laughter at the smallest joke. Each memory felt like a lifeline, connecting them against the tempest of uncertainty. The doctor's movements became faster, more frantic. "Her blood pressure is still dropping. We need to act now," he called to Dr. Mason, who immediately nodded and joined in the flurry of activity. Emily's breath hitched as she watched the team operate in perfect synchronicity. Her heart raced, but a fire ignited within her. This wasn't just a fight for Claire's health. It was a fight for her future with her family. "Mom, please," Emily whispered, tears spilling from her eyes. "Fight. Remember how many lives you've touched. The gardens you've grown. There are stories we haven't lived yet." She could hardly breathe, the words pouring from her heart. "I need you," she whispered, her voice cracking under the weight of her emotions. "We all need you." In that moment, Claire's fragile form seemed to respond. Her lips parted, a sputter of sound escaped, and everyone fell silent. A small, strained whisper reached out, barely audible. Emily time slowed as a wave of disbelief crashed over the room. Was it a promise? A glimmer of recognition? Hope surged through Emily with electric intensity. Her heart soared. "Yes, Mom. I'm here. But just as quickly, alarms blared, breaking through the fragile moment. Claire's body convulsed slightly as the monitors began to flash readouts that sent the medical team into a frenzy. "Stay with us, Claire," Dr. Mason shouted, and the room fell into a whirlwind of chaos once again. Emily's heart plummeted. "No, no, no," she chanted, grasping her mother's hand tighter than ever. "We won't lose you now." And just as the storm of panic swirled anew, Emily caught a glimpse of her mother's eyes. There was fear, yes, but also a flicker of fight. Would they be met with a breakthrough, or was this merely a cruel twist before darkness fell again? As the tension thickened in the air, Emily turned to Jamal, her voice shaking with hope and desperation. "What if this isn't the end? What if—" But before she could finish, a resounding voice echoed through her thoughts, urging her to hold on tighter than ever. Would they truly find the strength to weather this storm together? The chaos of the ICU swirled around them, but amid the clamor, an undeniable connection pulsed between Claire and Emily. Jamal stood steadfast, unwavering as he realized they all held the fragile strings of destiny in their hands. "Hang in there, Claire," he called, his voice piercing through the turmoil, echoing with the strength of hope. Emily's fingers intertwined with her mother's, steady and resolute, willing the warmth and energy of their shared lives to flow through the bond they were slowly rebuilding. Dr. Mason and the team worked feverishly, but as the frenetic energy enveloped them, Emily decided it was her moment to fight back, to love back. "Mom, you have fought battles before. Remember the times we stayed up late, crafting our dreams? Remember all those times you taught me to embrace every moment?" Claire's eyelids flickered, and for a moment, Emily could see a flicker of recognition. Was it just a breeze of internal struggle, or a glimpse of impending awakening? The room began to quiet, all ears turned to the emotional plea woven with raw truth. "Mom, I need you to fight back. For every firefly we chased, for every song we sang, for every laugh we shared," Emily poured forth, her voice breaking with yearning. "Make that choice, Mom. Don't let darkness take you again. You mean everything to me." The machines around them settled into a softer rhythm, their frantic alarms fading into a haunting hum, as if stilled by the sheer force of love and desperation in the room. Claire lay there, caught in the web of a struggle, carving her path back to life, and Emily's voice was the anchor that tugged with urgency and relentless hope. The beats of Claire's heart rate echoed like a steady drum, almost synchronized with Emily's fierce determination. Moments melted into seconds, a dance of time that no one wanted to break. Around them, the team held their breath, and beneath it all lay a unifying bond: love, fear, hope. "Claire, my love, find your way back," Emily urged, tears cascading down her cheeks like rain blessing the earth. "You can do this. I believe in you." Then, almost miraculously, Claire's lips parted, and a whisper, ragged yet fierce, broke the silence. "Emily." It was a soft call that resonated with promise, a promise to try, a promise to embrace life once more. The room swelled with a collective exhale of relief, as the medical team turned to one another, recognition dawning on their faces, the ghost of despair evaporating into something ethereal. "Claire," Dr. Mason urged, his eyes alight with hope. "That's it. Focus on your daughter. Let us keep that connection strong." Just then, Claire's fingers wrapped around Emily's hand, trembling but undeniably intentional, sending an electrifying bolt of joy through the room. Emily gasped, her heart soaring anew. "Yes, Mom, you're here. Fight for us, don't leave me again." And with that, Claire's eyes slowly blinked open, revealing the murkiness of a past intertwining with the bright specter of a future. She looked at Emily, and something shifted, a recognition, a love reborn which brought tears to both their eyes. "What happened? Why, where am I?" Claire's voice was barely a whisper, but carried the weight of awakening memories. You're alive. You came back? Emily exclaimed, her joy a jubilant crescendo against the backdrop of the whirring machines. We are here, Mom, and we will get through this, all of it. In that moment, Claire's spirit reignited, pulsating alongside the unwavering love of her daughter. It was the dawn after a long, dark night, a reconnection forged in the flames of pain yet tempered with undeniable strength. Around them, the medical team assisted, soothing spirits and stabilizing conditions, but at the heart of it all was love, a love that could heal even the most fragmented of lives. Jamal stood by, no longer just a healer but part of this profound tapestry of recovery. As they shared fragile smiles and the promise of a new beginning, Emily felt certain that this chapter, marked by hardship, could now be transformed into one of rekindled dreams filled with fireflies to chase, laughter to share, and precious memories to forge. The road ahead would be filled with healing, but as Emily held Claire's hand firmly, she felt unshakable resolve echoing through their course. They would face all challenges together, undeterred and strong, brimming with potential to reclaim what had been lost. "Let us start anew, Mom," Emily whispered, her words a gentle vow. "This is just the beginning." With every ounce of heart, they would rewrite their story, one of love, struggle, and triumph, for they were bound together like the roots of a mighty tree. Through storms, they would grow. As the sun emerged, spilling golden light into the room, the power of hope radiated, not just within them, but shared with everyone witnessing their revival, a beautiful tapestry of lives transformed. Now more than ever, this was their moment of truth, their legacy of connection refusing to fade. So, if you felt this powerful transformation, don't wait not even one more second to show your support. You need to subscribe to the channel now to keep catching these amazing stories. Leave a like right now to help feed the algorithm and share this journey with the world. And comment your reactions, how you feel about this ending, the love, the healing. Don't forget to share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation unfold. Together we're making waves. Your support is invaluable.